The first episode sounds eerie, like people used to whisper that objects, treated with respect, they would have a soul living inside, which is why people have questioned if trash thrown away, what could be inside? No one would know what lies hidden. Hidden in daily trash, I spot a girl's torn stuffed toy. Mom comforts me, telling the girl to buy a new one. This one is really outdated. They take them to the processing center, concealed in darkness. The main character sneaks in illegally, taking advantage of the moment when no one is watching. While on patrol, the guard hears a strange noise. So he peeks in to see someone rummaging through the trash. Without hesitation, he immediately draws his gun, asking, "Are you the trash thief?" He presses the emergency button to call his colleagues, but unexpectedly faces fierce resistance. The main character throws several bags of trash at the guards, dives into a pipe to escape, but the exit is blocked, forcing him to find another way under a hail of bullets. Although very quick and skillful, he still gets grazed by a bullet. Suppressing the pain, he jumps through the complex sewer system, successfully outsmarting the guards. Crawling up from the sewer, Rento takes off his hood, cursing at them as scum. Your dad isn't a thief, in the peaceful park where an uncle is despised by some girls. Disgusted by his dirty appearance, dressed in disarray. These people are called manji, living on the other side of the gate. Behind that white wall are dilapidated houses, the living place of the common people living here have it tough already. Rento keeps stealing trash, causing the thieves to take notice, setting out their stuff for repair. Suddenly, Chiga comes to reprimand and asks him, "Why do you keep picking up trash?" The main character responds. Lowering the lamp, he replies, "I feel sorry for them, so I take them home to make a living." However, that doesn't mean he likes trash. Some brats pass by, pinching noses, saying Rento reeks of trash. The frizzy-haired one whispers to Chio not to come into contact with him, lest she catch the stench, especially on her gloves. Just brushing against him a little is enough to catch the itch, these cheap, torn items. In short, the frizzy-haired one sincerely advises Chio not to socialize with the son of the murderer from the slums. This place is originally a prison for criminals. While we are humans, their descendants should work properly to gain a more favorable view. However, everything has crumbled down just because Rento's father was classified as a murderer. Seeing those eyes filled with rage, everyone immediately changed their expression. The frizzy-haired one says, "There, that's the look of a criminal." Then they leave before Rento loses his temper and deals with them, ignoring it. Despite the harsh words, Chiga still believes you're a good person, unlike her father. It made the young man blush when he looked at the stuffed animals. She complimented you on your skillful repairs, saying it looked really cute, but since no one was buying, Rento took it. He lost his courage to give one to Chio, only to be surprised when her mother came by calling for her. When he got home, he ended up missing a regrettable opportunity. As evening fell, he gloomily returned home, not knowing that his uncle teased him. Rento felt embarrassed, not expecting him to be eavesdropping from some corner. His own conversation was more important. He heard that his nephew had recklessly gone dumpster diving again last night. His uncle hoped Rento wouldn't take such risks anymore, suggesting that as a kid, he should just live like a kid. Even though we aren't blood related, we're still family. After all, we're having a conversation here. At every opportunity, he brings up Chio, making Rento stubborn instead of listening to him. He said these wounds are nothing compared to the dark hands left by his parents. Knowing that, his uncle still advised him to follow the rules. Unless he wants to be thrown into hell like his father, since he became aware, he occasionally was tormented by pain from the tight dark hands, while everyone around looked at him with disgust, until his uncle appeared and handed him a pair of gloves, which is why he regarded him as a benefactor he could never repay. His uncle advised his nephew to remember to gift the stuffed animal and confess his feelings, or someone might steal her away. While the two were chatting, an enigmatic masked figure stood outside, plotting something. The next morning, his uncle tried to fix his rugged face, to make it a bit friendlier, but overall it was hopeless. Helpless, unable to smile, Rento disregarded it and set off to find Chio. As he understood, those who commit crimes would be thrown into hell along with the trash. Witnessing someone being thrown into hell, the main character was curious about what it looked like down there. What it might be like? Suddenly, Chio stood beside him, startling the boy into stammering. He was left speechless. For her, the slum built on the edge of the city served as a reminder to let us know that those who do bad things will be thrown into hell. To be honest, I don't want to see you being thrown down there. So, don't do anything reckless that would get you thrown down there, okay? He cares about you a lot, so that's why he worries and talks so much. Hearing this, the young man suddenly realized his uncle was secretly playing matchmaker, trying to make the two of them a couple. Rento felt embarrassed. Quickly covering his face, he tripped and fell to the ground, then stood up and confessed with all his might, thinking this girl would be very happy to be with Chio, so he gave it to her. Watching her gently hug the stuffed animal closely, along with her radiant smile, made his face Rento blush with joy. The boy hurriedly ran home to boast to his uncle. The uncle accidentally ran into some guards, he ignored them, and continued to run like hell. Standing right in front of the house, he thought to himself that the uncle would definitely tease him, but still, Rento still cheerfully walked in. The uncle always welcomed him home, and was taken by some mysterious guy. Ordering skewered meat, the main character went mad, rushed in only to be thrown to the ground, bleeding everywhere. After eliminating him, the masked man gently closed the book, glanced at the kid one last time, then walked away. You should change this filthy world. You gave it to me already, just bury it. Rento was confused. Before he could understand anything, the police shot and rushed in to subdue him. Ignoring the pleas, they still considered you a murderer because the evidence was the blood stains on you. Seeing this stubborn little brat, they wouldn't shut up. One of the group punched him, knocking him out cold. Immediately, he was taken to the execution ground. With all sorts of unforgivable charges, after being sentenced, everyone collectively cursed the filthy thing, get the hell down to hell. In despair, Rento looked towards Chi. He truly responded. Chio glares, tosses the plush toy down, calling him a murderer's son. Knowing he'd meet his doom, Rento snaps back in rage. So Rento couldn't help but curse. You are the filthy ones, having ears but eyes, but not bothering to look, not bothering to listen, just like a bunch of meat hiding. In the crowd, Rento. At the end of his life, despite sinking deeper into darkness, he swore to make all sinking into darkness, he vows to make them pay. Rento wakes up on a garbage heap in the abyss, facing a monster. A giant monster rose from the rubble, leaving the kid speechless. For a long time, Rento always wondered why no one cared about going to hell. They just stood there, looking down on those thrown down without daring to say a word. Returning to hell, the main character ran for his life in front of strange monsters. Rising up from the trash heap, after a few roars, they split into two to block the escape route, not giving the prey a chance to run. Looking at the body, made of trash and more trash, Rento couldn't believe anything like this existed in the world. Suddenly, they all charged at once, continuously biting, continuously making the kid scared, pissing his pants, running for his life. While trying to escape from them, Rento accidentally fell before a skull, refusing to accept his cruel fate. The young man looked up at the sky, cursing those who threw him down here. Suddenly, the garbage mountain collapsed down, crushing him. The main character struggled to sit up, covering his nose, telling himself, "We have to get out of here quickly before the pollution affects us. The problem is finding a safe place in this desolate, trash-filled area." In a moment, Rento felt blood in his throat, coughing violently, too weak to stand. Just as he was about to kick the bucket, the image of his dying uncle suddenly appeared, helping him. He gained new motivation to live, and Rento's senses suddenly became incredibly sharp. He could see objects glowing around him. Rento grabbed a nearby pipe with determination to avenge his uncle before finding and destroying him. He thought he had to survive and escape this hellish place along with the rage Rento unleashed. Sticking straight to his head, he was tired of these monsters. Nearby, there was a mysterious guy using binoculars to observe the asymmetric battle, ignoring the blood from his nose and mouth, still charging in to attack. The public was like a beast cornered. Even after being knocked down countless times, he still got up to pick up trash and throw it. He took down every creature, but most of them hardly had any effect. Meanwhile, his body was becoming more and more exhausted. Seeing the prey showing signs of exhaustion, the two monsters immediately lunged forward, fighting over every bite. At that moment, a red-black flash cut through. With a swift slash, not missing the opportunity, Rento swung the tin roof, shredding them to pieces. After ensuring they were all finished, he sat down, forgetting one. By the time he realized, it had risen up, slamming down hard onto the ground, creating shockwaves that blew everything away within Rento's range. Unable to run in time, he fell right in front of some guy. That guy lifted his shirt, kicked the kid in the back, and then put on a mask. Facing a barrage of questions, he signaled Rento to be quiet and not to shout. No matter how much he spoke, the kid wouldn't listen, so the uncle pointed down and shouted, saying this isn't. It's the basement, which is actually the ground. The trash here is thrown down by those heavenly beings. Now can you shut your mouth? I continue. He said. The monsters behind him are called ban-thu, composed of trash. They are very sensitive to human sounds and cannot be destroyed by normal weapons. Why do you keep yelling like a madman? That's how they discovered my location. Stumbling over his words, the masked man turned the umbrella. The torn piece became an unusual weapon. He opened the umbrella. With a refreshing mood, he crushed the head of the ban-thu, sending it back to the Earth Mother. With this power, the monster will completely vanish. It cannot recover. In front of him was a pack of fierce ban-thu, all rushing in to attack, yet the mask showed no fear, just with a few basic moves, it was easy to wipe them out in no time. While landing, kid. Suddenly, a big glob of phlegm burst out, forcing him to use the umbrella to disperse it before it exploded. After landing, the mask was immediately hit by the umbrella, piercing straight into the helpless beast's head, screaming in despair before exploding into pieces, taking it down. Done, he folded the umbrella and went over to praise Rento for surviving so well. Removing his mask, Enjin says, I'm a street cleaner, kid. Trying to act cool, the young man almost vomited from the stench. Just because he said objects also have life, they ganged up to push him into a puddle. Knowing that, the grandfather was still very happy that his grandson didn't fight back. People always say that objects have spirits to teach us. He knew how to cherish his belongings, but unlike them, his uncle believed in that, meaning every item in the house has a soul. He laughed at Rento's naivety and reminded his grandson to cherish these gloves. When he woke up, the protagonist suddenly realized he was being dragged across the ground by the beggar from before. First of all, Enjin expresses his condolences. There's no way back to the Heavenly Realm. It always moves everywhere and has countless other reasons, so kid, just lie still and behave. Even so, Rento stubbornly wanted to know everything. I must return to the Heavenly Realm to deal with that bastard at all costs. Hearing the kid jump around, Enjin agreed to teach Rento about the ground. Needing an explanation, a bunch of masked guys suddenly appeared. One curious guy from the group approached and asked the kid, "Where are you from?" and got a response. "I fell from the Heavenly Realm." Hearing that, the whole group ripped off their masks and bombarded him with questions while also touching him all over. They felt relieved that Rento was still alive since they had only found dead bodies before. The kind guy in the red jacket helped untie him. Then the kid got in the car and said, "This one is still intact." Intact, must be worth a lot. He didn't hide anything from the kid. He admitted that they really hated the heavenly folks. Every day, you throw garbage down here, creating a toxic atmosphere and giving rise to monsters. Many people here are victims of the heavenly beings. So everyone really hates them. To take revenge on them, they dug through the trash and stuffed it into Rento's mouth to eat. To vent their anger, the guy in the red jacket and his gang laughed heartily as they tossed each strange objects into the kid's throat, making him furious. Seeing 2 fingers, only the bones left. The minions didn't expect him to be so hollow. This leader was so hungry that he devoured all the trash in the vehicle, too much for the current situation. Rento shouted insults at the Heavenly Realm and the Underworld. Everyone was just as trashy. In a fit of rage, he broke the chains, jumped out of the car, and taught them a lesson. On the mountain, observing, Enjin was extremely pleased. At the display of the kid, he followed Enjin's teachings. Uncle Rento tightly gripped the chain that bestowed life and unleashed its power. The guy in red lost control, ordering his underlings to tear the kid apart, and they all shared in it. Went to find a way to deal with the chain because of the giver group. Losing possession means you can't use the power. One of the guys took advantage of the dust. He knocked the iron handcuffs away, thinking it was easy, until he saw. He picked up the whole wheel, realizing Rento could dynamically use many things. Instead of one, it was already too late. After taking care of the underlings, he intended to finish off the guy in red, but was stopped by Enjin after he calmed down. Some floating object suddenly fell and hit the head of that strange guy. The tire also returned, freshly covered in dust, while blood started to drip from his nose. Enjin apologized for testing to see if Rento had that power. Impressed by the overwhelming power, he extended his hand to recruit the kid into the cleaning team. Who would have guessed he said he wouldn't join some BA training somewhere? Enjin called his buddies to report that he had found a talent. Knowing Rento possessed a strange ability, he immediately brought the kid to the treatment room. The stubborn male refused to join the cleaning team. But that guy kept pushing, making him visibly uncomfortable. The doctor widened his eyes, praising that the kid was still alive. It's already a miracle, kid, and if you breathe in a bit more air in the restricted area, you're done for. You'll meet your maker. Besides, the kid was saved by the older brother from the cleaning team. Why not show a bit of gratitude? Plus I'm the old lady who teased you and still called. Call me old man again and you'll get punched. Step out of the video door. Thank you for the medical fees, and again declined to join the cleaning team. Once more, Enjin advised the kid to reconsider. He tucked it in well, because this place isn't any kinder. Where's the Heavenly Realm? After saying that he opened the door to take him to eat cake in the dusty city. To be honest, at first, Rento thought the underworld was just trash and trash, never considering its existence. Of the city, rapidly in the underworld, there were many different emotions. Referred to as thought accumulation, easily gathered. At some point, it will transform into energy and cause all kinds of phenomena. The clearest example is the emergence of the beastmen living in the trash dump outside. Outside the city, they occasionally come here to cause chaos. But regular weapons have no effect on the beastmen. However, the gloves Rento is wearing are a different story. To put it simply, they are the owner's item. It has been used carefully and cherished for a while. Over time, it will have its own spirit, so N and everyone here call it a life force. The problem is that the person who possesses this power is extremely rare. Not everyone has it. That ability will be called Giver. N continues to speak. The cleaning team is an organization that fights against beast gangs, requiring a lot of manpower. He is ready to recruit Rento into the group, and also admits that you don't know how to climb up to the heavens, making the little brother gawk, but your boss. There's a lot of information, maybe he knows about it. He sees Rento curiously asking about the gloves. Deep in thought, he says this is an important memento that my uncle gave to me. Just looking at the worn surface, Rento cherishes using it. It has been used for a long time. Not everyone can do that. Kid, you have good gloves. Always cherish them. Those words accidentally make Naruto remember the day his uncle gave them to him. Suddenly, Enjin tells the little brother to wait here for a moment before preparing to leave. On that day, Rento stood up to thank him for what just happened. Hearing that made him feel good. The boss gave him a little money from selling the kids' clothes. Hearing that, Rento widened his eyes and cursed. It turns out he wasn't doing any better. Those people are a bunch of bastards, suddenly taking advantage, and have a mouth that jumps down to bite. Taking the wallet and running away. Seeing that, the young man hurried, chasing it into the alley next door. During the pursuit, Rento snatched it. The stick of his grandchild was standing there eating sausage, taking the chance while the mouth slipped. His foot immediately pressed it down to the ground, retrieving the wallet and letting it go, thinking it was over. Suddenly, the guy from earlier came over, making the main character return the stick. Here, the kid was about to get up to hand it over, but before he could, he lightly stroked the stick, took a deep breath, and then activated his power to teach the kid a lesson. Stealing under the blue flame, the old stick quickly turned into a weapon. The powerful weapon made Rento pale. Without beating around the bush, he immediately slammed it down and asked, "Are you ready to get beaten up, that genius kid?" After warning, the grandchild introduced himself as Ginko. "Have you been beaten yet, that genius kid?" After warning, the grandchild introduced himself as Ginko. Ginko is part of the cleaning team, assigned by Enjin to guide you. The young man ignored all explanations, and accidentally asked, "Don't your parents teach you? Stealing is bad." Rento thought this guy insulted his uncle, and got angry, preparing to fight. Before being overtaken by anger, he suddenly remembered his uncle's advice. He advised his nephew that if he didn't want to suffer, he had to learn to cool down his hot head. Thinking about the feelings of the other person, applying it to reality, Rento suddenly realizes his friend is angry because he thinks something important has been taken away. "I know I need to apologize for my carelessness. Who would have thought?" On the other hand, Ginko has really calmed down. He turned off his strength and cheerfully introduced, "This stick is my treasure. Sorry for getting angry for no reason." My treasure. Sorry for getting angry for no reason. The kid was confused, not expecting his grandfather's teachings. "It really works, uncle." Ginko smiled and reached out to pull Rento up. "I must say, your gloves are really cool." At that moment, he realized the secret to making friends. It lies in the smile of the uncle who always stretches it out, helping him. Although he wasn't sure, Rento still tried to advise, giving the kindest smile he could muster. To show sincerity, the young man widened his eyes with a strange expression. "To share, I don't intend to join the cleaning crew, Bro. Seeing this, Rento immediately got angry. You're insulting me, aren't you? Rento quickly explained, I'm smiling friendly. But why is your temper so hot like that? He thought he probably overstretched his face, looking unnatural. So he switched to a closed-mouth smile, which only made Ginko more frustrated, cursing up a storm. Spit flying everywhere. I see you're pretty cocky, kid. I'm sure your intentions are as ridiculous as your face. Yours is just as ridiculous as your face. The young man said cruel words without realizing it. He had inadvertently struck the dark heart of the kid, carrying the hatred of his deceased uncle. Rento had sworn to change this trashy world, so when he heard Zanaka mocking his purpose, he could no longer keep his calm. The older brother saw that reasoning was no longer effective, so he decided to deal with this kid. Looking at the toilet tree covered in red and black flames, Zanka felt a chill. This kid's ability is to turn whatever he touches into human gas. Nevertheless, the young man was still smug, thinking genius is still no match for him. Where, said it, he summoned the stick. Falling from the sky made Rento confused, quickly stepping back. Ginko seized the opportunity to run up. The stick attacked relentlessly, not giving the kid a chance to counter. Being hit too hard, Chi's mind developed. Suddenly Ginko discovered there was something slimy sticking to his face. The young man curiously tried to wipe a bit and bring it to his nose. The person suddenly. But smelling the stench, when he looked closely, he realized Rento was holding a toilet plunger. Covered in excrement, the older brother was scared and ran away. But that guy kept chasing him with that filthy stick, sticking it all over the alley. Ginko ran with all his might to the main road, trying to find a way to escape. Just then, a cat crossed, causing the young man to stumble. Just waiting for that moment, Rento immediately jumped up and unleashed his ultimate move. The heavy rain made the senior cry silently, getting soaked and tangled in his clothes. Zanka could only scream in despair, and a moment later, Enjin sped to the meeting point. Then he saw his little brother passed out on the garbage pile, sitting in the car, listening to the two recount the situation. He laughed until tears streamed down his face, hardly believing the two were fighting over nothing. After this incident, Zanka was psychologically shaken, while Rento was bewildered, not expecting he had just used a ship to fight. Enjin tried to hold back his laughter, introducing again. Zanka was still in shock just moments ago, and suddenly, his little brother laughed. Laughing like crazy when recognized by the senior, he was pointed out by Enjin that the girl named Rizo was lying back. In the back of the car, he sat up and asked, "Are you Rento?" She playfully fiddled with her hair, praising the male lead for being really cool, only to tease the little guy for being silly. After clearing the way, Enjin immediately sped straight to the cleaning team headquarters. The place the whole group called home, Building 4. Crossing through the dilapidated buildings, a shadow, Enjin continued to drive the kids to the base. Zooming out of the dark road, he suddenly stopped the car, stepping down to welcome them. Rento had arrived with the cleaning team. Entering the main hall, Rizo promised to meet later. Rento felt uneasy. Why was she always playing with his hair? Come here, let me introduce you to the receptionist. Suddenly, she picked up a fork and pointed it at his face. After taking care of two pesky flies, she smiled and welcomed him. The promising rookie, I've heard about you, but I still want to personally assess your potential. Assess your potential. The senior explained that her aura was those glasses, besides helping enhance the ability to observe moving objects. She could also see the true nature of others. However, just looking into his mind, the receptionist already saw. Distorted images startled her. She released her hand, then calmly returned to evaluate. Rento's physical foundation was quite good, and his compatibility with the aura was extremely high. But he still needed to train more to use his strength naturally. More importantly, there was a ship stuck around that kid's neck. I'm not hiding anything. On the way, Enjin continued to introduce the cleaning team, including the combat team, defense team, and support team. The scale is about 100 people, but today there will probably be fewer people. He led the kid to meet everyone, just as he opened the door in front of the two brothers. The two of them were members with tense expressions as if they were there to collect a debt. So Enjin quietly closed the door again. Let's save it for another day then. Standing in front of the boss's office, he pulled the little guy's shoulder, advising him not to say anything. Rushing isn't going to get you anywhere. It's best to say yourself that you'll work here, in exchange for information. Say yourself that you'll work here, in exchange for information, and don't ask anything about the boss's abilities, even though I don't know what his abilities are. But the whole team still followed him wholeheartedly. He also values righteousness highly. After the instructions, Rento took a deep breath and opened the door. But the boss was nowhere to be found. Suddenly, The receptionist behind him said that he was on a business trip, so it would be a while before he returned. Sorry, kid, the boss is out right now, turning to ask. The sister was also at a loss, not knowing when he would come back. While discussing, suddenly, a person popped their head in and asked the boss to let Rento intern, then approached to look directly into his eyes and said that he also wanted to know more about him. Seeing the map, the protagonist wondered what the polluted area was. The receptionist guessed that this blonde guy was just talking nonsense. Well then, let's explain everything to the kid from the beginning. The lower world is divided into safe zones where humans can live, and places polluted by garbage. The habitat of beasts is called the polluted area. The place where Rento fell is the most dangerous in the area. This area is also known as the forbidden zone. If a regular person steps into the forbidden zone, they will be expelled immediately. It turns out that Enjin was out for a walk and coincidentally met the kid, so he saved him. After explaining, the manager handed a mask to Rento and reminded him to wear it in the forbidden zone. Without a mask, after 15 minutes, you would meet the king of hell. A moment later, Rizo winked and told Rento to observe closely how we work. Looking at the piles of trash stacked up, he suddenly remembered imagining hell to be like this, except that there were still people living down here. What he had never thought about was whether those up there knew about this. Well, in the eyes of the young man, it was a mountain of sparkling treasures. Suddenly wanting to take it all home. Accompanying the two today is the support team. Although they don't have powers, they are still important teammates. Important for supporting the cleaning team. Suddenly, a silver-haired man extended his hand, saying he was very happy to meet little Rento. A bit surprised, Rento shook hands and got squeezed, almost making him go limp. Proudly showing off his grip strength, it was impressive, capable of crushing the outer shell of beasts. At that moment, Rento reminded himself to observe them carefully. While they were peacefully conversing, suddenly the group discovered a horde of monsters. With numbers as numerous as the Mongol army, it made the protagonist, gawk, and Rizo smiled, criticizing them as weak and quite slow, so they were perfect for rookies. Thinking this would be an easy fight, suddenly a few bulls charged hard into the fence. Oh, so it's really easy. Yet the old lady still calmly thought these were evolutionary versions. Just a little more than the small ones. What's there to be worried about? Instead, she wanted to quickly clean up and head home to prepare a welcome party for Naruto again. The kid stood in front of the 7 gods and asked, "Don't you see your life is in danger?" Rizo winked and replied, "To survive in the mortal realm, you need a calm heart." Hearing that, it made sense. The young man told himself he had to act like Rento, trying to appear calm. Turning to ask, men said, this. Despite that, Rizo showed no signs of wavering calmness, as nothing was more exciting than fighting a strong opponent. While Rento was still scared to death, she pulled out a pair of scissors, ready to clean up this mess. She threw the scissors high, turning them into a weapon, then slipped her foot through the hole, and next she landed on the ground, severing the heads of the cows using her feet to spin the scissors in front of Rento's astonishment. The silver-haired man explained, "Usually, you would use scissors by hand, but that girl only uses them." Saying that, he suddenly turned around, grabbing the head of a cow that was charging at Rento. He used his bare hands to pin the beast to the ground, then with all his strength, threw it over to that girl. Hearing the noise, Rizo immediately brandished her scissors, cutting it in half, then asked everyone to throw more of them. It turned out that the powerless could assist by controlling and letting the giver deal the final blow. While they worked, Rento felt guilty for having said, "I will only help until I achieve my goal." After beautifully handling the shrimp, Rizo eagerly wanted to finish off the big one, so she could get off work early. The support team saw this and tried to cut down the little ones to disable their fighting ability. While moving, one suddenly woke up, using its horns to trip the older brother in the group who was just waiting for that moment. It immediately charged in to devour, but was stopped by the rookie. Rento wanted to show everyone here that this kid could fight too, and wasn't just standing around. He also tried to turn the iron rod into a weapon, but somehow it sprouted everywhere. Wait, how did I use that power again? Just as the cow was about to ruin the iron rod, Rizo rushed in to save him, then casually complimented Rento. After dealing with it, the silver-haired brother ran over, apologized for being careless, then asked her, "Have you finished with the big one?" The support team immediately went to report the new species to the surrounding towns. Only Rento couldn't help it all, because he had forgotten how to use his powers and returned to the fight with Rento again. Jumping up, he slashed a long line, and before anything, it was already struggling violently. Seeing this customer seem hot, she just discovered some hair. Something was glowing on top of its head, but was knocked off by the ice beast. The monster quickly recovered and began to lose control of its behavior. The more Rizo tried to control it, the more it went out of control and kept destroying the area. Around, Rento was standing and observing, accidentally losing his footing and falling into a pit without being able to do anything. He blinked, and Rizo wondered what he was even doing here, when the silver-haired guy grabbed his hand. Pulling him up, he picked the kid up and ran like crazy, yelling at Rento to keep his eyes peeled. After a while of lingering around, Rizo finally found the weakness of the ice beast. She leaped into the air, then kicked down, piercing its head and causing the monster to explode. After it disappeared, Rizo said he had found it. With a source of power helping it move, he looked at the utility knife in his hand. The silver-haired guy couldn't help but wonder how the human energy ended up in the ice beast. Somewhere else, the human trafficker just woke up to find himself tied up, not yet understanding what was happening. As he was trying to figure out what was going on, a stranger turned around and asked where that kid from the Heavenly Realm was. That night, Ginko was about to head back to his room when he suddenly heard noise in the house. The young man curiously peeked in to find everyone eating and drinking. Asking around, he learned that Guido had thrown a welcome party for Rento coming to the lower realm. The truth is, most people just came to eat, drink, and gamble. No one paid attention to the monster, while the main character sat sulking over there, looking miserable. He had no vitality at all. The video said that during yesterday's mission, Rento couldn't use his human energy. So he sat there, looking dejected. Putting that aside, Men was still worried about the strange ice beast that had appeared the day before, different from the usual kind. The strange ice beast that had appeared the day before was different from the usual type. Its core was not a thought but an object, initially very frightening. But thinking back, it was best to let the higher-ups handle the difficult matters. While feeling lost, the silver-haired guy brought a glass of water to say thank you for your hard work yesterday. Thank you for saving the kid with the sunglasses. From the support team yesterday, Rento just felt happy, because in the end, he still couldn't use his power. On top of that, he had to let him and the wind save him too. Back in the Heavenly Realm, Rento had a hot temper and got angry easily. Like a mad dog after such times, his uncle had to step up to apologize and fix the consequences left by his nephew. In the end, I still couldn't change anything, letting others save me, contrary to my thoughts. His uncle was very grateful to Rento. Almost for the first time, AI also thought the support team was a bunch of incompetent weaklings. They all looked down on them and considered them a burden to the cleaning team. The kid with the sunglasses wanted to eliminate the ice beast, so he joined the team but didn't have the power to take them down. So he was nurturing an important creature to become a soul blower, he even declared. Even if I awaken my power, I'll still be in the support group for those who look down on me. There, open your eyes. In short, instead of trying to meet others' expectations, you should find your own goals. All right? The silver-haired guy patted Rento on the head, encouraging him. Rento was moved, almost brought to tears. Suddenly, Enjin leaned against him and sighed. Then he ruffled Rento's hair and asked, "Haven't you eaten anything yet?" Gizo walked over, urging Rento to eat quickly, or he'd miss out, even though he was the one who hogged the most. Initially, the main character was still a bit hesitant, so he didn't dare to accept the silver-haired guy's offer. However, after sensing their kindness, Rento decided to open his heart and moved toward everyone. While stuffing his face, Enjin leaned over and called out to his little brother, "Take a good look at that spray paint guy. Even though many complain about him, that dude, still carefree, painting whatever he wants." Enjin sat down, rolled a joint, and told that guy to draw. "Anything is fine, but please don't draw a piece of shit, okay?" The older brother smirked and replied, "I can't promise that." Then he immersed himself in art, to the fascination of everyone. Meanwhile, that dude didn't stop pleading, "Please spare me, I've already confessed everything." The mysterious guy chuckled, responding, "All right then." Then he used his claws to help the other sink into a deep sleep. A soul reaper from the celestial realm will make a quality gift the next morning. The next day, Ginko wondered why they had to bring this intern along. The receptionist explained that she called Rento here because it was related. The content of this mission was about a merchant passing through a contaminated area. He was attacked by drugs and had an important item stolen from him. Important, which is why they requested us to eliminate it and retrieve that item. It is said that the item belongs to a survivor from the celestial realm. Because of this anomaly, the silver-haired guy advised his little brother to think carefully before making a decision. Looking at the gloves, Rento had to admit that he still wasn't proficient in harnessing his spiritual energy, but even if he was a burden, he still accepted the offer to find clues to return to the celestial realm. Most people supported him, except for Zanka, clearly annoyed to avoid conflict. It was the receptionist who purposely mentioned Enjin before avoiding the promise that it wouldn't be unfair. No need to worry to motivate the little brother, which was not unexpected. The young man believed it wholeheartedly, leading the group into the forbidden area with a festive mood. On the way, the sunglasses guy revealed to Rento that the silver-haired brother brought a lucky charm. Every time before going on a mission, he prayed for everyone. "Hey, you little brat, stop meddling in other people's affairs," after scolding him. My brother pulled out the lucky charm and said it's just a cheap trinket bought from a roadside stall. While talking, Rento suddenly realized there was an older sister standing behind him all this time. She bowed and introduced herself. "I'm the one who brought him." She made a request. Rento, impatient, immediately asked, "Where did the older sister find the celestial being?" She replied, "I happened to see that person while transporting goods, so I kept them. But the person, they were taken away by the beast squad, so I couldn't ask anything." Rento frowned and asked, "Are you planning to sell them?" She immediately denied. "What the hell?" Yes, while moving, the police suspected this woman was up to no good, because it seemed there are stories about beasts kidnapping humans. Indeed, there have been many strange occurrences lately. Following her directions, the group arrived at the building where the beasts had run inside. Once they arrived, Ginko called everyone to gather, raised their vigilance, and then slowly moved inside. As soon as they entered, everyone noticed someone standing way over there. Suddenly, the older sister urged, "Push everyone to save the person. What kind of celestial being is in such a hurry, Grandma?" When looking closely, Rento realized it was just a rotten doll. Seeing that, she stepped back and shouted, "There's the celestial being!" Immediately, the group that was standing suddenly collapsed, causing everyone to fall into the basement. Seeing her turn back, the silver-haired man asked, "Where's the kidnapped celestial being?" I pointed at Rento and said, "Right in front of you, that person," then transformed into mud. Seeing the purple light from the darkness, Zanka immediately understood. It turns out our group was trapped by the sabotage team. Without further ado, both expressed their desire to take that celestial kid away. The silver-haired man whispered in my ear, "The sabotage team, to put it simply, they are a band of robbers." Initially, it was all normal. But in recent years, they have started to get involved in suspicious experiments. All members are soul breathers. Saying that, the silver-haired man asked the sunglasses to stay back to protect Rento. "The rest will go find a way. Sorry, but the confrontation will have to be handled by you, Zanka." Rento wanted to stay and fight, but in the end, he had to run away with the support team. The silver-haired man advised his younger brother not to be foolish and confront them, because they are not like the kidnappers. Zanka guessed, "You two, we want to grab that brat, take him to sell for money to have fun for life, right?" She jumped up and denied, "We're not looking for him to sell. No, we just want to capture him, to ask how we can cross the boundary and still survive. Just to ask, that's all." Ginko carefully observed the surroundings, then turned to ask, "Is the ground turning to mush caused by your power?" Seeing the opponent unwilling to answer, he immediately transformed the stick into a spirit weapon to deal with the weak dummies like snails. "Weak dummies like snails?" I laughed maniacally as a warning. "Young man, be careful, because among them are some real ones." Finishing his sentence, the bald guy suddenly crawled out of the mud and struck Ginko. "Stuck to the wall? You're really shallow, hiding among the dummies. Keep hiding, you brat who thinks the opponent only deals with beasts. So how can you stand a chance? Come on, play with us a little. What chance do you have? Come on, play with us a little. Then log out, okay?" As expected. That girl has a single color attack style, but it's extremely effective, causing him many injuries. Knowing this guy isn't easy to take down, she has turned several spots on the floor into mud to limit the opponent's movement. As long as she can disable, you guys are sure of victory, even when placed in a disadvantageous position. But Ginko still stood up, criticizing your attack style as boring, making me feel annoyed. After observing for a while, he noticed the bald guy was wearing snowshoes, which made it easier to move on unstable terrain. Easy on unstable terrain, no wonder he could. choosing to accompany her. Indeed, the two of you get along well, both confused. I may have less, but the one who understands their spirit weapon best is me. I may have less, but the one who understands their spirit weapon best is me. Not to brag, but I know each swing of the stick very well. With that, Ginko raised the weapon and slammed it down to create a sonic wave. After it swept through, he immediately found the position where the bald guy was hiding. In an instant, he rushed in, causing him to break a tooth, then used the stick handle, slapping that woman in the face and finishing with a cool pose. After the dummies melted, the police turned back and said it was because you guys are too resilient. So I took him down in one hit for a clean and surprise finish. The stranger behind said, "You too," making the grandfather and grandson's hair stand on end. Rento panicked and ran, not paying attention, and accidentally bumped into his brother. After checking the emergency exit, checking the silver hair, he called everyone to hurry. Hurry to the surface to find reinforcements. I will stay behind to see the police situation, but you should. I've handled it already. Hearing footsteps running towards him, he turned to ask the group, what about the vandals? But the one appearing in front of them was a total stranger, with an unclear background. He stroked his hair while inspecting. Rento looked him up and down and fell silent, then suddenly teleported behind to ask the kid, "You're the soul blower from the Heavenly Realm, right?" Taking the chance while all three stood still, he had destroyed the escape route. Crush it by smashing the concrete wall. The silver-haired warns Rento that he is one of us. Targeting her means facing the cleanup crew. The villain laments, "I was just a little late. I got lost on the way. AI is cheap. Those guys have already been defeated." The long-haired one casually approached and said, "Someone really wants to talk to you." Suddenly, he snatched off the mask and called out to Rento. "Rento, you don't need to wear that. What's a beast squad doing here?" The main guy angrily asked, "What did you do to Zanaka?" The guy replied, "It's not that I'm soft-hearted towards the strong, so don't worry. That guy is just sleeping. He won't fall. My poison will just keep him immobilized for a while." Saying that, the long-haired one created a warning claw. "If you don't come quietly, I'll scratch you. If you don't come quietly, I'll scratch you." Seeing both of them, he dove in and flipped back, kicked the old man and grandchild away, then backed off, praising the hammer of his glasses. "He has potential, while that other guy is useless, so I don't need him." Despite the danger, the silver-haired stood up and declared, "I will protect my teammates to the end. Even if I have to face the AI, I will still protect their values." The enemy sneered, "You little shrimp from the support team can protect the AI." Rento showed concern, urging his brother to run. He can handle it alone. But it was too late. While he was talking, the long-haired one had already thrust his sharp claws into the silver-haired, then slowly pierced him, and, mocking these little shrimps, they have no value. At that moment, Rento saw the silhouette of his deceased uncle through the silver-haired. In despair, he picked up the talisman, and remembered a time before. There was a time when his uncle accidentally discovered his nephew sitting, banging his head against the wall. He rushed over in panic to pull him away, then laid Rento on the ground, asking, "Why are you doing this?" Hearing the kid repeat the phrase, "Don't hurt others," he couldn't understand. "So why are you hurting yourself? Tell me, why did you end up like this?" "Even though there's nothing, I still feel frustrated. Frustrated? I can't understand why I'm so angry." His uncle placed his hand on his head, explaining, "That's because you think you have been abandoned by your parents. Perhaps that resentment has turned into frustration, and you don't know what to do to erase it." He stood up. Smiling, he said, "After we bandage up, we'll go outside. One of the reasons you feel empty is because you haven't found something you love or want to do. So starting today, go experience a lot of things. Then, fill this room with the things you love. Also, when you get a girlfriend, remember to let me know, okay?" The next day, my uncle took his nephew out to play and taught him all sorts of things. Poor Rento, still dazed because he hasn't found what he likes yet. That afternoon, he curiously pointed and asked that guy, "What is that guy doing?" My uncle replied, "That guy. He's from the city, just throwing away trash." Suddenly, the nephew bolted over there. My uncle panicked and hurried after him, only to find Rento crying heartbroken over something that was thrown away. It was just slightly chipped. Why throw it away? It's not over yet. It's so pitiful. Pitiful. At that moment, my uncle realized it was not just simple empathy. So, the child could see the value in discarded things. Back to the battle, the silver-haired one's talisman suddenly erupted fiercely, stunning the opponent. Despite being severely injured, my brother still dared to speak up in defense. We've misunderstood. Rento's ability isn't to turn things he touches into human energy, but the power to maximize the value of the things he touches. Witnessing Nam turning the talisman into human energy while the long-haired guy drooled and exclaimed, "It's so cool." And I wondered, what ability does he have? Can you spill the beans? Seeing the silver-haired guy coughing hard, Rento felt a sharp pain in his heart. He clenched his fists and said, "Thanks to you, I remembered. Without your words, I would just be angry like always and accomplish nothing." Rento pointed and provocatively said, "I'll deny everything you said and affirm everything you've denied. In short, get ready to take a beating, kid." The long-haired one expressed, "I really like fighters with a strong fighting spirit like you. By the way, my name is Rapper. Bad guys will take you away." After the introduction, he looked like a shadow. Excitedly laughing, he ran to tear apart. Despite losing a lot of blood, still tried to observe. Observing the battle, he realized that during practice, Rento didn't use human energy well because he was clouded by anger and other emotions, but now he didn't need to worry anymore. The rapper stepped back, puzzled. "I thought you wanted to fight a lot. So why are you just standing there?" Rento calmly provoked. "If you're brave, jump in and feast, you scoundrel, making my uncle and nephew blush. You already introduced yourself. Why do you still like to curse?" After saying that, the rapper jumped in, bloodied. Bloodied but only kept missing the ground. He was bored and didn't bother to speak. Just rushed in with reckless attacks, but couldn't hit even once. The rooster wanted to drop its blood pressure yet still couldn't hit. "What's going on, Rento?" Explaining, the silver-haired guy prayed every day for everyone's safety. For everyone to return safely and soundly. Peace means not getting hurt, and to avoid getting hurt, you have to focus entirely on defense. So, as long as the opponent doesn't hit you, it's fine. The confident armor believes that even if my attack doesn't hit the kid's attack won't hit me either. Huh, haven't you realized until now? I haven't moved an inch. The one moving isn't me, it's you. To put it simply, I can read your movement direction. The rapper tunes it out and just charges into attack, only to be hit by the sad talisman that flashes a light. Rento continues to explain, "This talisman can't be used to attack because it represents the wish of the silver-haired man. So let me change it to teach you a lesson." Speechless, the main character immediately punches the opponent in the face, causing blood to spray from their nose. Nevertheless, the rapper still feels excited because that ability is too annoying. "Come on, stop rambling, get over here so I can teach you a lesson." When realizing he was the only one getting hit, the rapper slyly asks, "Don't you feel guilty for hurting others?" Saying that, he seizes the opportunity to sneak behind and stab, but still gets his movement locked by the talisman, Rento. Seeing that, he turns around to punch the guy in the stomach, leaving him ecstatic. He changes his plan, deliberately scraping his claws on the floor to creating dust to limit visibility, but doesn't stop there. He also shatters some concrete slabs and throws them away, then teleports to attack suddenly. Yet he still gets his movement neutralized by the talisman. Right? This character is seriously a game glitch. Despite being injured, Ka is still. The rapper stubbornly charges in like a wild dog. But what he receives is absolute helplessness. Even if he moves at lightning speed, he still gets caught by the talisman. Ban-thu doesn't, wasting the opportunity, hitting him again and again, noticing the opponent showing signs of exhaustion. The young man rushes in, throwing in a few more punches, causing the enemy to stagger and sit down, saying for a long time, "Then, I finally get to have such a refreshing fight." He smiles satisfied, saying he's discovered. Your aura possesses the ability to avoid attacks by sensing killing intent. Right when throwing a pile of rubble to distract, I realized it can't react to something without will. To be fair, showing off the claws on the right contains a type of extremely potent neurotoxin. Then, lightly stabbing someone and sitting there groaning like a madman. The rapper wonders if I fainted and went crazy unconsciously. Then, does your aura see that as an enemy? In front of Rento, he gradually loses power. Then suddenly rebooting and unleashing a devastating attack. Episode 7, Sweating in the Midst of the Ruins. I didn't expect this guy to be so strong. I need to be more careful, in case he charges at me. The silver-haired group can consider this life as lost. As soon as you lift your foot to run, you're already out of luck. The main character, yet he still struggles to get up and roars. Like a zombie. Did this guy accidentally stab a stone or something to be this crazy? Rento felt chills, unexpectedly, The opponent was able to find a countermeasure in such a short time. His combat experience and intuition were truly terrifying. In such a short time, his combat experience and intuition were indeed very frightening. Or is he the masochistic type? Back in the day, Rento was bullied and called that because no matter how much they trampled on him, he wouldn't retaliate. When he got home, his naive nephew asked, "What is masochism?" leaving his uncle speechless. Back to the battle, Rento. In such a sick situation, he couldn't defend, so he had no choice to dodge the storm of attacks. Meanwhile, Zappa even jumped in to take over. It made Rento extremely distressed. After a frenzied chase, he managed to cut off a part of the talisman, then raised his claws to stab. Luckily, a stick flew in to pull him away in time. Otherwise, the main character would have been pierced in several places on his face. While Rento was standing guard, Zanka came over and shouted, "You haven't taken him down yet. Do you think I would dare to play with that little shrimp? Change places, Rento? I'll teach that guy a lesson." The main character worriedly stepped back and asked, "Are you okay? Why do you look like you're about to die?" Jane confidently said, "I'm as healthy as an ox. Don't underestimate ordinary people, you genius. By the way, have you been able to use your aura properly? That squid behind you looks cool. It seems it can only react to killing intent, right?" Asking revealed that just now. The young man leaning on his stick observed the battle from afar, so he grasped the situation. In short, Rento's weapon couldn't attack, and he still couldn't move normally. "So, do you mind if I just hit you a little? Is that okay?" The CA Space explains, "He will take advantage of it, using that talisman to move, and then hit that crazy guy. But if he guesses wrong then, the one who eats the crumbs won't matter." Just when Draper managed to take off the stick, he growled and charged in to attack, forcing both to keep their distance. Keeping their distance, Ginko warned his younger brother not to touch that claw. "Just a light stab and you'll be frozen in place." The more he looked at it, the more his brother wanted to hit the rapper on the head while that kid kept babbling. Throughout, the young man was furious, aiming straight at the video attack to redirect the talisman to the nearby target, and that's how you succeeded. Knocked the opponent way over there. "Wait, did you really have killing intent against me just now?" "Of course, I was just testing. You don't need to take it to heart. At least we've found a way to deal with him now." Get up and charge in to attack, looking visibly annoyed. But still, I have to hold back to adjust the attacking direction of my senior. After hitting the rapper, he smirked, not expecting it could even change the flight distance. But that was a bit rough. I hope the kid isn't mad, right? Even though we hate each other, we still teamed up to give that guy a beating. The rapper got a lot from us. To give that guy a beating, he got a lot from us, the rapper. Suddenly waking up and realizing Ginko was raising a stick, he immediately recognized this as the bad guy, who then got hit headfirst into the ground by the young man. After taking care of Chopper, Zanka also staggered and fell to the floor, groaning about being too exhausted. When Rento's red eyes calmed down, it was also the moment the talisman returned to dust. Helpless, he could only kneel down and watch it slowly fade away, without being able to salvage anything. This was an important item of his, and yet I accidentally ruined it. Ginko couldn't help but wonder why the talisman had shattered. Could it be that weaponizing has a time limit, or is there another reason to consider? The kid suddenly started shaking violently. Ginko then noticed a scratch right behind him. Sensing something was wrong, he immediately turned around to check on the sickly guy. With the little strength left, the rapper injected himself in the neck with and then jumped up, shaking to adjust his bones. Although he didn't remember anything about his mouth, he was sure that he had done really well while being unconscious. The CA folks found it unreasonable why he was still healthy like that, despite us having beaten you up badly. "There you go." The rapper sat down and bragged that it was thanks to the caress of my heart. Although it doesn't heal wounds, at least it can make you lose the feeling of pain. To be honest, I didn't expect to be beaten up so badly. My right side has gotten used to it, so it's only effective for 10 minutes. Having said that, the rapper injected the young man with a poison that lasts for 30 minutes. To avoid the candy always, after sealing the song, he casually carried Rento back to the base, while saying goodbye to the bad guy. In despair, he could only glance at the guy leaving, unable to do anything while he was escaping. Thinking that those two would manage on their own, so he just let it be. As for Rento, he couldn't stop blaming himself. It was because of him that everyone ended up like this. He turned to see Giso standing there, pointing and saying, "Found you, darling." Immediately, Enjin rushed in and jabbed him in the stomach. And then he was thrown away, along with the cleanup team declaring, "You poked the dog in the wrong place, kid." Looking down, he remarked that the basement of this building was quite deep. No wonder the collar couldn't transmit a signal. So you guys set a trap so they couldn't call for backup. Truly a classic move of the villains, if it weren't for. If that girl hadn't called for help, I wouldn't have noticed at all. And reassured her not to worry too much, they weren't that weak. For now, you lead a few more people down to help them. The rapper sat up, exclaiming, "There are so many people who look so strong. I don't understand why when you underestimate them. It makes me want to shoot everywhere." Enjin and everyone. Everyone felt sorry for Rento. Turns out the kid had to face this sick guy all this time. Guiso saw that he was still okay, regardless of the young man writhing in pain like crazy. He poked, and then got furious, yelling loudly, "Come on, turn the volume down for me." Enjin grimaced threateningly. "This time, you're certain to be more hurt than healed." The rapper didn't want to end up in jail, but also didn't dare to escape, because his mission was to bring Rento back alive. "Fine, even if I can't win or have to lose my life, I can't leave here until the mission is complete." He just pulled out his claws, preparing for a bloodbath. Suddenly, two arms tightly hugged. The guard, the rapper frowned and cursed, "Don't bother me," but the girl with blue hair still wouldn't let go and pushed him back to the base. If they got ganged up on now, it would be the end. Knowing this sick guy was very stubborn, she said that the boss was laughing happily. There, just in a moment, his whole body trembled and he looked at the girl with chaotic eyes. In the end, he still flashed a grin and asked to leave through the magical manhole. Illusion on the wall. Gipper asked the group to convey that. "Playing with you is so much fun, little heavenly child." Just as he turned away, Rento was surprised. "I warned you. This isn't over, you bastard. I have to make you pay for what you've done." With the silver-haired guy, patterns appeared on his gloves. So the kid also possessed a series of stars. What an interesting coincidence. Also possessing a series of stars. What an interesting coincidence. He warned that next time, he would be better prepared to bring the kid back, then slip into the manhole next time. "Okay, sweetheart?" After the lid closed tightly, the hole disappeared right before everyone's eyes. The hole disappeared right before everyone's eyes. After that incident, the team recovered, while the silver-haired guy fell into critical condition. "Run to it. Gather all your courage. I'm sorry, I messed up my talisman." He struggled to say it was something very important to him, causing the guy. "I felt incredibly guilty." After that, all the silver-haired guy concluded with, If it helps you, that's great, you did well today." In episode 8, returning to the base, Enjin sat next to me and asked, "What's with that gloomy face?" Rento strained his neck to reply, "What kind of face should I make when he's in this state? Back in the Heavenly Realm, I couldn't save the one who once helped me, and here it's the same," I thought. "Even though I've changed a bit, everything repeats itself. Will I be crushed like this my whole life?" Being crushed like this, how does Enjin know? He had prepared himself to sacrifice for his teammates. He protects the kid not because of the kid, but because he sees you as a team that values both objects and people. So, go inside, face him. When they met again, Rento was very surprised. Surprised to see him so healthy. He even rubbed his eyes a few times, unable to believe the silver-haired guy was still alive. Incidentally, the result was the young man being patted on the head by the two. Truly a lovely kid. How embarrassing. The reason the silver-haired guy has survived so long was thanks to the medical team of the cleaning crew he introduced. This shy girl is the only healer, and also the one who contributed the most. However, the girl feels insecure and thinks it was all just coincidence. She's not as wonderful as that. Just as Enjin said, this man is really shy. Nevertheless, the silver-haired guy is still very grateful to her for saving him in his moment of life and death. Besides, he wouldn't have been caught up in the onslaught of the destruction gang if she hadn't been there. Made the little guy cry out of emotion. Then, he turned to praise Rento. "Well done. Knowing how to coordinate with Zanka to face such a strong opponent is amazing. So, don't worry about the talisman anymore. His important item has helped everyone." "I'm happy now," Rento replied. Understanding and feeling relieved that he was still alive, putting that aside, Enjin thought. "It's going to be tough from now on. We won't only face the beasts, but also have to confront the destruction gang." Suddenly, a black man came over and said they were investigating something about the Heavenly Realm, which made Rento curious, asking Ra to find out this man was the boss of the cleaning crew. He approached, apologizing for being absent on the first day. Rento. Coming here, looking so nonchalant, but I'm the leader of the cleaning crew. I heard that you came here just to gather information about the Heavenly Realm, right? Usually, the boss would chase such people away, but in just a short time, Rento has contributed significantly. The cleaning team, and that's worth noting. Therefore, he approved and allowed you to join. Join the cleaning team. I've already prepared the uniform and the information you need in the private room. Brother Sikula revealed that those who enter the area between the Heavenly and Underworld will be logged out. Immediately, there's quite an interesting story that says in the forbidden area closest to the boundary, there is a lost traveler who wandered in there and was helped by a girl. When asked why she in a place like this, she replied, I'm watching people fall from above. There is someone who can go up and down without a care. So the boss believes that girl may have met someone who can cross the border. If we can find the person she met, then we will find a way to go up, and also the reason Rento can descend to the lower realm without dying. It's extremely dangerous to go from here to there, so I want to know if you want to go or back out. Rento clenched his teeth and replied, of course, I want to go. Why would I refuse? So immediately, the young man set off, ignoring the sunglasses warnings. Please, dude, don't be foolish and go meet the girl in the forbidden area. This stubborn guy won't listen, even. The old man accompanying him. Have you been careful? Are you bored today, kid? Are you alive? Being able to use power is good, but you must know your limits, use weaknesses, and many other things. So, today we will gather 10 pieces of information and confirm your strength. Also, we will act as a team, because going alone into the forbidden area is like handing your life over. Just for the kingdom, not questioning why Rento. Why do those ruiners like them become AI? Also, being a good person. Not all AI are good people. Not all AI appreciate objects. Some people seem good but use things poorly. There are those who look wicked but know how to appreciate things. In short, being a giver has nothing to do with whether someone is good or bad. Those who have aversion to givers or call us dependents, from the perspective of ordinary people, the obsession with a very strange object. Yet all this time Rento thought that bad people would not know how to appreciate things, although he felt a bit guilty. But I cannot forgive their wicked actions. Listen to your brother. Rento tried to set aside a day to unwind, but didn't know what to do. Should I go pick up trash now, wasting my time unexpectedly? Rento opened the door and wanted to take you on a tour, cleaning up. Following the girl, Rento discovered quite a few places like the dining room, gym, and a guy who was letting loose. Although this place is a bit run down, at least there are still many new things. Back when he lived in the Heavenly Realm, he often went sightseeing, picked up trash, and was bullied by the kids. The main food was bread and soup. When he heard the girl mention the words candy, Rento immediately thought of things that richer people often eat. You might not believe it, but they have that. In Rento's eyes, the pile of candy on the plate suddenly sparkled unusually. Enjin warns us here. Candy is even more loved than opium, so remember to eat in moderation, or you'll get addicted. Otherwise, it would be tough. Farming in the lower world is extremely difficult due to pollution. Luckily, there's a group of givers with the ability to create food, or else we wouldn't have so many delicious candies. Under the temptation of a young man trying to pick up a candy, put it in his mouth, and then began to scream. After that, he lost control and gobbled it up, just like an addict. I told you to eat in moderation. This kid suddenly brought a child with a grimace, staring intently. The main character isn't sure who this kid is, but Rento knows he's aiming for the candy on the plate. As soon as Rento held out a lollipop, the child snatched it away and stuffed it into his mouth, then held out his hand for more, leaving Rento quite flustered. Flustered to avoid the tension, Leo had an uncle come over and pull the kid down to sit and apologize. Fast forward to the present, after everyone left. Rento, with a body as big as a balloon, scared Thon, pale green and looking like a freshly dropped scab. Isn't he like a piece of junk? Is the cleaning crew even here? The next day, Rento stood trying for the whole afternoon but couldn't use his energy. Maybe he ate too much candy and forgot how to use it? Well, at least he has lost some weight, and we are happy about that. It's really a relief that Rento still remembers how to use it but just can't activate it at will. Zanika noticed his younger brother often fixes discarded items, so he thought it only reacted to trash or broken things. Therefore, he brought a pile of trash and told Rento to try picking something he likes. The main character bent down to choose. and then picked up a ruler and turned it into energy. Enjin praised him. "You're quite good, just like a true instructor." It made his younger brother visibly happy, of course, not forgetting to emphasize. Because ordinary people view themselves more objectively than geniuses, right? Continuing with the confirmation session, Rento tried to hold a few more items, turning them into energy until he started to bleed from his nose like last time. Enjin thought it was because the material of the gloves was too strong that his body couldn't handle it. Meaning, the longer the kid cherishes the item, the better it becomes as energy. We call it that. Improving its quality makes its strength greater, however. It's not the only thing that determines the battle, it also depends a lot on experience. With a reflective mindset on the user's ability. With a reflective mindset on the abilities of the user. In general, all of them are important, all of them. Rento wondered why my items. Once weaponized, they turn to dust. Is there a time limit or something like that? I'm not sure, but Gizo thinks it's because they no longer feel regret. Rento's strength is to maximize the power of discarded items, like them, feeling fulfilled after being reused by him. In short, Rento's ability is to maximize the value of trash and dispose of it once the task is completed. The Enjin completely agrees with Gizo's perspective and finds what he said very true. This proves that the talisman and other things. The items that were weaponized before were not destroyed by Rento, but were thoroughly utilized from those items still nostalgic in the world. But what about those gloves called the series? What are they? Did you give them a name? Hearing the group talk, Rento just realized he had never thought about that before. Then, he must give it a nice name. Somewhere in there, the boss of the destruction gang is tapping his thigh waiting for his subordinates to return. When both entered, he had said a lot of things, including the series of the guard. At 9 o'clock at night, Rento took off the gloves and went to wash them. Despite being tormented by pain, after soaking them, he intended to hang them to dry when he discovered. Lying on the bed, she wondered why Rento was up so late. Tomorrow we still have to set off. In the face of her confusion, the young man, explained, "My room is right above. I was sleeping, suddenly heard some moaning. So I got curious and came in through the window." Well, that's not a problem, but why is she? She's so aggressive all of a sudden? I see she seems curious. Curious, Rento hurriedly hid his dirty hands behind his back. He said that when wearing gloves, "I don't hurt much, but occasionally I have to wash them. If you want to know how the wound is, just ask my damn parents." That day, Guido remarked, "Parents give us many good things and bad things," with a sad expression before leaving the room. From now until Rento's gear is completed. The boss wants everyone to set off to complete the preparations first. Enjin explained that when the cleaning crew enters the forbidden area, everyone is obliged to wear masks. He takes our helmets, masks, and clothes. All designed by the artist. If you order ahead of time, he works terribly. So we have to depend on that grandchild's progress. Therefore, until it's completed, the boss plans to ask someone to draw a talisman for our team. To minimize risks when entering the forbidden area, we will ask a spirit blower to cast a protective spell on us. Usually, that young man often comes here to graffiti on the walls. But lately, he hasn't been seen around. I wonder if something happened. In short, this time, we will go to the graffiti city to find that guy. After that, the members will go together to track down the girl in the forbidden area. Due to its dangerous nature, this time there will be 3 squads participating. Usually, it would require 5 supporters. But when entering the forbidden area, we must cut back. As for the number of givers, we will need more. Suddenly, the big man stepped forward and told me, "I've heard about you, kid. I like passionate people like you, so join our team." Seeing the kid looking panicked, the senpai stepped up and said, "Hey, teammate, hold on a bit. Rento, please understand. The old man may look fierce, but he's really nice." Enjin thought this was a good time to let the kid experience the passionate shout of the big man. As soon as Ginko covered his ears, Caldo immediately shouted, "We're going to the graffiti city. Although there are many dangers ahead, we will not falter because we are the cleanup crew." Rento couldn't stop wondering. He wondered why they had to shout so loud. Although he didn't understand what was going on, the kid still shouted to avoid getting lost. After the shouting, everyone immediately got into the vehicle to carry out their mission, without saying a word during the trip. The group accidentally passed by a grandfather and grandson who were vandalizing and almost caused an accident. "How do you guys drive like that? Are you all blind?" After hours of travel, Rento finally saw the graffiti city with extremely unique shapes. As he stepped out of the vehicle, A huge wall, filled with striking artwork, caught his eye. The MC explained that all major cities have a dome-like structure to protect against waste falling from the heavens. Most of the homeless who cannot live in the city will be crushed by the rain of trash. But you don't need to feel guilty, because it's those who consider it natural who are at fault. Nearby, a bald man looked up and said, "This city is so strange. The door is wide open, but you can't get in." While the two were struggling, suddenly a group brazenly walked inside without any issues. Enjin stayed behind and shouted, "Rento, just go in, it's fine as long as you don't have any bad thoughts. You can come and go freely, but those with malicious intent will stand outside watching others enter." Just as its name suggests, this place is filled with paintings everywhere. Enjin said that in the lower world, there are people who love to paint everywhere. But there are also those who dislike it, which is why this city was created for everyone, to freely create art. Even the boss once said that it used to be called the City of Art. But there are also people who dislike that, which is why this city was created for everyone, to freely draw. Even the boss once said that it was called the Art City back in the day. Today we are here to meet a soulful artist who works in this town. His ability is to enchant the things he paints. For example, he can neutralize an attack on this wall. One time he might channel emotions or some meaning into the painting on this wall, and it will become reality. The clearest evidence of reality is that the two guys earlier couldn't enter that city. Because those guys had some dark intentions, that's why they couldn't step inside. The vitality of that guy is also of a rare kind, inherited through many generations. While talking, suddenly a little girl ran out, bumping into Enjin. The girl was sniffling, quickly wiping her tears and panicking, running away, accidentally turning her brother into a bully. When the mayor stopped by, Enjin went to ask where the artist was. The old man bowed his head and slowly replied, "He just passed away this morning," leaving everyone in shock. The cause of his death was due to body pollution. Every time he painted in the polluted area, the boy often took off his mask out of excitement. So, it ended up like this. I told him repeatedly but he wouldn't listen. Witnessing Enjin slumped right next to an acquaintance, causing Rento to feel indescribable emotions. Previously, he had once said that the artist was a man who did not hesitate to do what he wanted. And just like that, he left in the very passion he always pursued. Knowing Rento was feeling guilty inside, Zanka quickly reassured and said that this is a common cause of death in the underworld. By the way, the mayor also announced. Actually, the successor has already been decided. The girl was sitting there crying hard. Over there will be the one to inherit this spiritual energy. The heir must be chosen by the potential candidate. But even he doesn't know what criteria they choose by. However, he knows who has been chosen. One must awaken the ability to inherit this brush, and the one chosen by the artist becomes the master of sorcery. Next is that little girl. But the problem is the mayor thinks she's still too young. The sorcerer is like the face of the entire city, so we don't know if that girl can handle the pressure. This power cannot be underestimated. Thanks to this incident, Enjin learned that there are people who can instantly become soul blowers. As long as that person has high potential, even without their own tools, they can still possess spiritual energy. If what Zanka says is true, then that is also a type of talent. However, inheriting spiritual energy is also a rare occurrence, not something you can just wish for. How can we have the mayor stand up? Sorry, but we have to postpone the talisman drawing for now. Not long after, that girl always followed me and my son. Everything happened too suddenly, leaving empty spaces in our hearts. The mayor originally didn't know how to draw, but he really enjoyed looking at the artworks created by everyone. Together, they painted, so he decided to hold this position to protect that scenery. When he first started, Enjin noticed that he didn't make promises. The artist often intruded into the cleaning team, doodled, and then just left without permission. There it is again. Before leaving, Enjin also bent down to promise that whenever he had time, they would. There it is again. Before leaving, Enjin also bent down to promise that whenever he had time, they would come visit, so remember to take care of your health. Suddenly, the girl jumped up and yelled loudly. That was enough. Tears from the girl Tenma sprang forth with a smile, confusing the mayor and everyone else. Without any lengthy explanations, the girl snatched the brush and gleefully ran away, as if she had never experienced loss. Amidst everyone's curiosity, Tenma gradually placed each paint bottle out, admitting that after he passed away, she felt very sad and lonely. But if everyone keeps crying, then he won't be able to enjoy the afterlife at all. Saying that, The girl opened the cap and turned the brush into her own spiritual energy. To prove it, the girl was immediately bombarded with a series of colorful fireworks into the sky to catch everyone's attention. Next, her hair was tied into 2 buns. The next bun reminded her of the image of the uncle who once guided her. He crossed through storms and felt its heat. The artists immediately grabbed enough paint bottles to join in with the girl. They would create a lively atmosphere to send off the artist, and even the mayor couldn't. Create a lively atmosphere to send off the artist, and even the mayor couldn't. The older brother smiled. There's no need to rush because this is the city of joy and freedom. Episode 10. When he could no longer hold back, Rento exploded and asked her, "Planning to turn me into a clown? What's so funny about that, you brat?" Please understand this. Enjin noticed the girl's personality. The candidates are all jotting down notes in the market. Active and playful. So far, the girl is regarded as a 6th-generation talisman master. The candidates are all jotting down notes in the market. Not really sure. After scribbling on his face, Tenma finally figured out how to use it. The ability to draw on someone must be permitted for it to manifest. Drawing on objects might not require it, but drawing on people absolutely needs permission. The market has heard that previous generations all possess the same ability, yet there will still be some minor differences. Enjin believes that everyone has different thoughts and ways of using things, so the abilities and forms will change depending on the user. I thought this charisma would be something special, but it turns out it's not. The reason all generations have similar abilities is because their joy in drawing is very intense. It's because their joy in drawing is very intense. We hide a lot of meanings in what we draw and take that as joy. A lot of meanings in what we draw and take that as joy. Perhaps the previous generation chose someone who possessed the most freedom and playfulness to inherit. I guess I also want to choose someone like that later, understanding Nana, because of our similar thoughts. That's why they have similar abilities, and I've wasted time analyzing this all along. And then she denies everything, making Enjin furious. The deeper I dig into the painter's story, the more confused I get. Before drawing the ward, during a critical damage hit on the 2 of them, I was a bit surprised to see the girl transform. She turned the paintbrush into a tattoo needle. This kid is seriously going to tattoo straight on Rento's back. Tenma? Expressing a desire to try many different art supplies but was strongly opposed by Enjin. Alright, this time I'll be serious. No more joking around. Can I draw on you? I mean, draw wards. I'll draw a ward on you. Even though my personality is somewhat playful, Enjin can't help but like this kid. This kid, besides Rento, after drawing wards for the whole team, the mayor noticed this might be a bit too much for her. I'm too much for the girl, but being able to do that for the first time is really impressive when sending everyone off. Outside the gate, there are 2 guys looking disgruntled when they find out the pen is inherited by a girl. Unknown girl. I'm the winner of the perfect painting competition and have high expectations from many people. I'm the talisman master. Clearly I draw better. So aren't you being biased towards her? Is that so? The market shouted angrily, saying that they don't need self-proclaimed artists like her. But opening your eyes for fame like you, I get it. So just go away, you bunch of sausages. Don't make me angry. If you get mad, the market really is terrifying. Before heading out, Enjin reminded the old man not to get too worked up, or he might get high blood pressure. Rento also sends his thanks to you. Thank you, kiddo, for showing me so many wonderful things here. If I get the chance, I'll stop by to hang out. After the goodbye, Enjin immediately sped back to headquarters to grab a mask for Rento. But before that, we're going to do something that you really love, okay? When he saw the sparkling junkyard, Rento couldn't help but run over. He was splashing around crazily, at least for now. As long as the kid is happy, when they return to base, the main character won't question who this hyperactive guy island. So, the mask for Rento is done. The young man proudly boasted that it was a perfect work, with no flaws. Since there was no time to meet, I had to secretly measure the size. While the kid was sleeping, luckily, he didn't lock the door before sleeping, so everything went very smoothly. Everything went very smoothly. But why has he been? Today, the boy has been having trouble sleeping, probably because of this. Suddenly, his little sister came over and said, "Please don't disturb everyone anymore." And said, "Please don't disturb everyone anymore." It turns out they are siblings. How? How can their personalities be so opposite? Before getting in the car, Enjin suddenly shouted, "Main character, take off the collar for a bit." Saying that, everyone simultaneously made Rento's fingertips bleed a little. Seeing the jagged edges, then the whole group took turns, pressing on the collar and explaining its function. This collar works like a phone. Like a phone that can contact those who have exchanged blood with each other. That's also the reason. That's why folks in the abyss wear these collars to stay connected. Okay. After the kid attaches the collar, the whole group immediately smiles wickedly, calling Rento over. Come here, let's get some blood out. On the way, Enjin told the kid to take a bit of trash along just in case, but don't bring it all, okay? Enjin told the kid to take a bit of trash along just in case, but don't bring it all, okay? When we get there, danger will strike, so kid, quickly prepare your mind to search. To find that mysterious girl, the group will have to cross the forbidden desert, find a little, and realize it's just waste turned to dust. Realizing it's just waste turned to dust, not sand as mentioned earlier. Not sand as mentioned earlier. Before anything, the beasts already caught wind and came here. Enjin carefully instructed and called Rento. Defeat them with your gloves, and then we'll go look for the mysterious girl. And, get to know the mysterious girl in the desert to enter the forbidden area. Big Brother has crafted the mask. The mask connects directly to a clean oxygen tank. That's how Rento got a mask. The mask is extremely cool for survival in the forbidden area. At the same time, the leader of the destruction gang received the news and sent Zappa to the forbidden desert. It seems he is also plotting something for himself. Since he has no combat ability, the support team's older sister will stand outside to record the characteristics of the monsters in this area. The opponents are scorpions with tough shells that attack in groups, even though they are large and aggressive, but they can't pose a challenge to Gizo's sharp iron pulls. Every time they fight, the men accidentally causes a ruckus, causing trouble for the cops, I tell you. Just standing still, doing nothing, and the scorpions still come at them, so they had to retaliate. A human being faces off against the monster. After a while of exchanging techniques, Ginko takes advantage. The venomous tail, to get close, then uses the stick to pierce its brain to finish it off. Taking down one was already tough, and now you're surrounded by the whole group. What bad luck. No time to waste, just got into position, and before he could strike, Enjin suddenly landed and wiped them out. All with one move. Thought the whole group had gone to sell salt, but there are still some left. Another one, well, let's leave the rest for that kid. From within the smoke, Rento charged forward with the keyboard in hand, and turned it into a human, right at that moment. A mysterious girl noticed a strange scent from afar. After the keyboard became human, Rento pressed a combination of keys. He pressed the start button to create a rain of characters, annihilating the scorpion in one blow. Then the Enjin beast team dug and discovered a lot of trash buried underneath. No wonder the scorpions here often appear in unbelievable numbers. On the other side, the silver-haired man was criticizing his junior for sneaking down here to take notes. The junior for sneaking down here to take notes. What if he runs into trouble? What would we do if something happened while we were rubbing our eyes? Rento faintly saw the silhouette of a girl hiding in the dust. Focusing to observe, suddenly the two old men appeared, startling the kid. The two advised Rento to pay attention, not to wander too far, or he might get lost. Just then, there was a girl slowly walking up to ask everyone what they were doing here. To meet Amo, right? All three were very surprised. They didn't sense the presence of the girl, even though their view was blocked. Could this be the girl we are looking for? I thought it would be hard to find, but it seems to be quite easy. Gizo raised his hand to ask if the other party had seen anyone passing between the celestial and the mortal realms. Amo waved back, saying she had seen someone. Looks like we found the right person. She coughed and said that talking here was harmful to the lungs, then invited the whole group to her house. Just walk a little and you'll get there. It's not far. Gizo volunteered to go ask, but Enjin wouldn't allow it. We still don't know if she has any ulterior motives, so it's safer to go together. If it comes to a fight, I'll take care of that girl, no matter how tough she talks. Yet, he was the first one to be defeated right in front of Rento. How could she possibly take down someone as strong as him? Right.